Welcome back to the Bible Reading Project Thursday. Hoping to inspire you to read your Bible and dropping some life lessons your way. Hoping to help you understand the Bible a little better using my life experiences, my failures, my successes, and just time with God in the Bible, trying as a human to understand an eternal being. I think that helps once you understand God is not on our level as far as his being versus our being. And so the very fact that we as a human could say, well, I understand God, sort of diminishes maybe his godness. But he sure does love it when you seek him, and he loves it when you press into him, to know him, to understand him. I think he likes that. So today, here's what I want to share with you. I hope it challenges you and lets you grow. And it will for sure keep you from getting angry, feeling like God has left you behind, he doesn't care about you. And it's based off of understanding this one thing. Ecclesiastes 3, you've heard it, it's in songs, it's everywhere, it's in sayings and tattoos. Here's what it says. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under the sun, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down, a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What do people really get for their hard work? Good question. I have seen the burden God has placed on us all, yet God has made everything beautiful for his own time. He's planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. I want to share with you that one thought today. It is my favorite verse in the entire Bible. It is tattooed on my arm because it's so meaningful to me in the scope of what Robin and I went through. And it is that God makes all things beautiful in his time. If you're going to have a wonderful relationship with the big man upstairs and not fall away frustrated, mad, feeling rejected and neglected by God, abandoned by God, you've got to come to this truth, which takes maturity to come to it. God is in control and is also the author and the finisher of this realm we call time. It starts out this way in chapter 3. To everything there's a season. That in and of itself tells us that things move and ebb and flow within a time period. Day 4 in the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, it states this, that God created the sun and the moon and the stars to govern time. And that is the way God has designed his kingdom. And his nature, though eternal, operates in a time realm. A realm where God seemingly is never in a hurry and he's never operating in our time frame. I always say this, it always feels like God's a day late and a dollar short, but he always shows up, and you know the phrase, right on time. But if you're going to be a strong follower of Jesus and not get tripped up and not feel like it's just futile, none of this matters, which is the whole book of Ecclesiastes. It all just seems futile. It seems vain. Why do I even serve him? Things don't work. My prayers don't work. My giving does not work. I'm asking God to help me, but he just takes his own sweet time. Well, listen to verse 11 again. I think it will minister to you. I hope it does as it has me. Yet God has made everything beautiful in his own timing. God has a timing on your life. I know right now you may think I'm in the middle of hell. Hang in there. Everything has a time frame. Even the hell you're going through right now. Don't throw in the towel and go, well, God's not even caring. He doesn't even listen. He doesn't even hear my prayers. That's a lie. God hears everything. God knows all. God sees all. God is above all, and God is in all and through all, and He's the beginning of it and the end of it all. It's just this messy, nasty middle that throws us for a loop. Because if we're truthful, what we mean when we serve God, and that God supplies all of our needs, quote, according to His riches and glory, what we mean is that we want God to operate on our timetable. We want God to do life the way we do life. We want God to see the need and meet the need instantaneous. But if everything with God is instantaneous, there is no ebb and flow of the sun. There's no ebb and flow of the moon. There's no sunrise and no sunset. Everything needs to be instantaneously now. You want to blow your mind, go to the new kingdom, the new heaven and the new earth, where it says there's no need for sun and moon and stars anymore. What were you talking about? And it says, for the glory of the Lord shall light the city. That I believe once we're in the eternal realm, there's no need for time anymore. Time is set for you and I so that we can understand the nature and government of God. You cannot understand God's government of kingdom outside of even understanding time. Otherwise, you'll never do anything from God. Well, He told me I was going to be pregnant. 20 years later, I'm not. He's a liar. Well, He told me that my seed, Eve, would crush the serpent's head, but Cain killed Abel. God's a liar. He told me there was going to be a flood, but it's been 100 years. God is a liar. Because humans evaluate the validity of God based on time. And we will even evaluate the validity of our faith. If you pray a prayer and it happens immediately, oh my God, you're a strong person of faith. Pray for me again, because as soon as you prayed, I got it. We evaluate the level of value of our faith and our praying and our loving God based on how quick we can make God move, how fast we can get Him to move. John 11 is a great story of, hey, Lazarus is dying and I need your help. And He's like, yeah, I'll be there in a couple of days. Like, what? If you would have, even Martha and Mary, like if you'd have gotten here now, a couple of days ago, He wouldn't even be dead. So there is the frustration that even Jesus Himself, the Son of God in the flesh, was operating on a different time frame than what the people around Him were operating on. In other words, not just operating on it, but saw time differently. So that the passing of time did not determine the validity of God. The passing of time did not determine whether God was or was not faithful to His promises. Time had no bearing on Him because He was eternal. So when He does tell Eve, your seed will crush the head, but He's talking about 4,000 years later, to God, it's like, it's no big deal. It's going to happen. I'm not struggling over it as God because I'm the author of all time. It's just in the middle. What do we get in the middle? We get the Old Testament. The Old Testament is the middle from Genesis 3:15 to John 3:16. It's the middle. It's the messy middle of all the stuff that goes on, the distractions, the devils, the wars, the fighting, and the chaos is the messy middle. So we come to God and we go, why doesn't my life work? Probably because you're in the middle. You have the promise and you've not seen it come about. And now you're frustrated, you're distracted, you're serving other things, you're giving up on God, you're throwing in the towel. He probably doesn't exist. I'm agnostic, better than yet. I'm deconstructing because God doesn't do life the way I want God to do life. So I need to deconstruct to figure God out, to dumb Him down to my human level so that I can make sense of Him to serve Him. How idiotic is that? Right? Never going to work. All off of one thing. Humans get ticked when God does not do life on their timetable. He never does. And I'll show you how powerful this is. Even the demons of hell understand time because Jesus bumps into a few of them on a road one day and they say, have you come to torment us before our time? They understand everything's on a timetable. So whatever you're praying for, whatever promise you're standing on, are you just going to throw in the towel because it's been a week, a month, a year? So I'm going to quit praying for my rash because I've been praying for a year and a half. So I'm just going to quit now because God obviously is not going to do it because a year and a half this thing's to go away and nothing. So I quit praying that my fingers stop being numb because I've hurt my elbows and I'm going to the chiropractor. I'm doing everything, but God should just heal me now. Do I just quit praying? Well, He's not going to do it, or He would have done it by now, right? That's the truth. If my faith was big enough, God would have done it by now. Or if God loved me enough and felt pity enough, which is what we often try to do, get him to pity us, he would have already healed me by now. He would have fixed my problem by now. He would have met my need by now. Because the by now is what really irritates us. When God doesn't get along with my by now, he should have done this, we just either take control ourselves and begin to govern our own time. We take control of the messy middle and we become our own God and we worship our own self. We're going to fix everything, because I will say it again, the whole scope of God's work is from beginning to end. That's what he's doing. There is an end in sight. Just don't lose it in the messy middle. Don't toss him out because you're in the messy middle. Don't give up on a promise because you're in the messy middle. Hang in there. He that endureth to the end gets saved, and he that stands on the promises without wavering will see the results of everything God promised you. Hope that helps you today. Have a good one.